Rain slicked the tarmac in a glistening sheet, reflecting blue security lights that strobed rhythmically across the perimeter. Corporal Dex Hayes shoved his thumb toward the girl, crouched beside a stack of medkits. What's she doing here? Thought this was a Tier 1 drill. No one answered. A flash of lightning snapped overhead, and in that second-long illumination, every eye was on her boots, scuffed but precise, sleeves rolled, fingers tight on a sensor housing she'd just rewired. The insignia on her breast pocket was old, faded. Too old. A stylized phoenix coiled in a helix of fire, neither standard nor recent issue. They laughed. A few outright, but not Captain Rayner. He stepped forward with the silent precision of a man who'd survived ambushes in countries no one dared name. His eyes locked onto the phoenix. Then, before anyone could blink, the compound's alert system went dark just a beat and flashed to red. Not amber, red. A classified alert. On screen, in the corner, pulsed the same phoenix. Asterisk, asterisk, no one moved, except her. She stood slowly and scanned the room. They noticed then the subtle signs. The worn holster molded to her side. The frayed paracord. Bracelet that wasn't standard issue. The way she stood, not like a recruit or a tech, but like someone who had held the line and counted bodies afterward. She clicked her wrist unit and keyed a sequence so fast even Rayner didn't follow. The system accepted it. Full override, command access. The compound doors sealed. Rain pounded the roof. Thunder rolled again. And finally, she spoke. You're about to find out why I'm here. Asterisk, asterisk. 36 hours earlier, she'd arrived by contractor. Drop. No credentials beyond a sealed folder. Her name, Kira Vance. Age, 32. Civilian classification. No rank, no clearance, no assigned team. The intake officer scratched his head, fumbled for a directive. We don't usually process unaffiliated personnel through Tier 1 corridors, Ms. Vance. She offered no explanation. Just held out a laminated ID that was blank on one side. The moment he scanned it, he turned pale and waved her through. By evening, she was bunked in the overflow barracks with the green-labeled field techs, mostly interns and contractors, running comms or biomed kits. They grumbled about her presence, about the vintage badge sewn into her field shirt, about how she cleaned her gear meticulously at 0500. While they were barely coherent, she didn't respond to questions. She didn't eat with them. But every night, after lights out, her shadow moved across the far end of the compound, checking gear caches, tightening fittings on old drone rigs, recalibrating weather telemetry with a hand so practiced it bordered on instinct. Once, someone spotted her manually bypassing a heat seeker's range gate, something most senior engineers needed 2 systems to attempt. She did it with a screwdriver and 3 keystrokes. They whispered, speculated, but they didn't stop mocking her. Asterisk, asterisk, drop a. If you've ever been underestimated. Asterisk, asterisk. The morning before the alert, she was up before the staff instructors. Rain hadn't started yet, and the compound was still in that hush between drills. Kira pulled open a storage unit and began inventorying ration kits. Quiet work, humble, until her hand lingered over a pale green package. Not standard issue. Not even legal to circulate since the Blackwing collapse in 19. She tucked it into her pack. When Rayner passed through, he paused, watched. He didn't speak, but his gaze flicked once to her insignia. His jaw tightened. He'd seen it before. He just couldn't remember where. Asterisk, asterisk. The drill was supposed to be a straightforward Henderson humanitarian assistance and disaster response. Evac a downed medical team under simulated fire, reroute drone support, triage on site. A Tier 1 test. Only it wasn't. The alert that triggered mid-briefing wasn't fake. The screen changed because a real satellite ping came through. Geosync. Over the Salvi exclusion zone, decommissioned territory. Dead zone. Nothing should be there, except something was. The Phoenix, which meant someone from Project Helix had activated an emergency beacon, which was impossible, because Helix was classified. To the point of erasure. Kira's face went pale, but only for a breath. Then she moved. Asterisk, asterisk. She bypassed the lieutenant barking orders and keyed into the main terminal. Security protocols challenged her. She shut them down. Drone feeds lit up the screen. 2 aerials from decades-old satellites, suddenly back online. One was infrared. One was magneto-field sensitive. What they showed wasn't just movement. It was a heat plume under the dead soil. She whispered, "It's alive." Asterisk, asterisk, what the hell is? Hayes said, shouldering past her. Keira didn't answer. She ran to the drone bay. To the old racks marked inactive. She pried open a coffin-sized crate, and inside was an aircraft so old, its coating had worn to raw composite. But on its tail under grime and time was that same Phoenix. She activated it. No. One stopped her. Because the systems obeyed. Because the Phoenix recognized her. Asterisk, asterisk, droppa. If you've ever been told you don't belong. Asterisk, asterisk, Captain. Rayner was the first to speak. "You're from Black Helix." Kira met his gaze. "I am Black Helix." The drone's optics flickered. On screen, the plume was shifting. Getting hotter. And then a power loss. Total. Blackout. Screams. And the unmistakable sound of something activating underground. Kira's voice cut through the dark. "Everyone down now." Asterisk, asterisk, before we jump back in, tell us where you're from. If this story moves you, please subscribe. Tomorrow, I have a special story for you. A steel pressure valve hissed open. Kira's hands moved before her brain caught up. One motion locked down the override panel. The other jammed an analog breaker switch that hadn't been touched in years. Sparks flew as systems groaned awake. In layers first, the thermal suppression units, then perimeter comes. Then the ground array SERVOS. It wasn't just a blackout. The compound was rebooting from legacy. Failsafes, ones nobody alive had reason to even know existed. Except her, outside. The tarmac lights flickered in sequence like a heartbeat recovering from arrest. Fog rolled low. Kira pulled the emergency bulkhead closed and turned, chest heaving. Her left sleeve had split, revealing a line of scars and a microfilament tattoo along her forearm. QR, encrypted. Not standard military. Someone better tell me what the hell just happened. Captain Rayner snapped, voice slicing through the chaos. Kira didn't flinch. Your compound's been pinned by a Project Helix satellite. Someone or something is broadcasting from within the exclusion zone. A corporal half her age scoffed. That place hasn't been on grid in over a decade. Kira's eyes narrowed. Exactly. Which means the ping didn't come from a device. It came from a person. Asterisk, asterisk. The screen in the operations hub lit up again, stuttering but functional. A low-res image pulsed. Coordinates, heat plume, radiation index. The readout was familiar to only one person in the room. Keira. She exhaled slowly, fingers tightening. Against the control rail. She'd seen this pattern before once. And only once. When she was 19, in a basement command post beneath the Swiss border, watching her mother run trauma triage on a team that never should have survived. That was the last time the Helix Insignia had pinged red, and it meant one thing: reclamation. Protocol. Asterisk, asterisk. The team was scattered, disoriented, panicking beneath their bravado. A medic dropped a triage bag. A drone tech was trying to get signal on a SATCOM link that had gone dead the moment the ping hit. Kira took 2 steps up the command riser. Her voice was low, calm. Everyone here has 5 minutes to choose. Stay behind these walls and let it come to you, or follow me into the exclusion zone and stop it from reaching anyone else. Stop what? Dex barked. Kira glanced at him, then the screen. It's not a what, it's a who. And he used to wear the same medal they laughed at. Drop if you've ever walked into fire while others ran. Raynor broke the silence. You have authority? Kira didn't answer directly. She reached into her side pouch and pulled out a card, matte black, laser-etched, still warm from the body heat it had been pressed against. She handed it over. Raynor held it up. The moment it neared the scanner, a voice chirped from the system. Command override acknowledged. Field. Commander K. Vance, Phoenix-class priority clearance. Reinstating legacy control. Every jaw dropped. Kira just turned. Prep the transport. And I want 2 of the old MAV suits ready in 10. Asterisk asterisk. The exclusion zone was a scar in the earth. A valley cratered and warped from an incident no government would acknowledge. Drone footage cut out every time it passed over. Sensors died. Rumors swirled. But Kira had walked its edge. And now she was going back. Asterisk asterisk. They took off in an unmarked VTOL. Matte gray, wings flecked with repair welds from a decade's worth of storage. Only 4 went with her: Raynor, Dex, a junior tech named Hollis, and Mira, a medical officer who volunteered without hesitation. They flew low, skimming above treetops turned black by decades of acid wind. As the compound disappeared behind them, the fog thickened. Raynor leaned forward, watching her. Your medal. It's from Phoenix 9, isn't it? Kira gave the faintest nod. The last operational cell. Disbanded, then buried. He studied her. You were what, 25? I was the last one standing. Asterisk asterisk. The wind screamed against the hull as they hit turbulence. Kira's hand reached overhead, gripping a bar without looking. Balanced, fluid. The VTOL sensor array pinged. Then went dead. Mira looked up from her tablet. All telemetry just flatlined. That's how you know we're close, Kira said. Asterisk asterisk. They descended into the zone. Burned trees like jagged fingers. No birds. No sound. The MAV suits hissed as they pressurized, bulkier than modern armor, but lined with lead shielding and insulated oxygen. Dex grunted as he adjusted his visor. Why are these even necessary? Radiation's supposed to be contained. Kira didn't argue. Just stepped into hers and locked the seals. The hatch dropped. Heat hit like a furnace. Not just thermal deep. Rumbling heat from under the ground. Hollis staggered. The signal was pulsing stronger. Keira activated her wrist beacon. Split formation. Triage perimeter. Raynor, with me. Asterisk asterisk. The coordinates led them to a ridge just inside the valley basin. The earth there was soft, mossless. Beneath the loose soil was an access hatch sealed with a code pad that hadn't blinked in over a decade, but it was blinking now. Kira stepped forward. Without prompting, the pad lit up. Recognized, PHOENIX09. Welcome, Commander Vance. She knelt. Palmed the latch. And the door opened. Asterisk asterisk. Below was a stairwell choked in dust. They descended, 1 floor. Then 2. Then a blast door. And behind it voices. Someone was still alive. Or at least pretending to be. Kira keyed the override. The blast door split. Beyond it, in a pale blue glow, stood a man in a Phoenix-issue command suit. Pale, eyes hollow. He smiled. Vance. Took you long enough. She froze. It was him. Colonel Jared Lane. Presumed dead. Leader of the original Black Helix reclamation team. Her mentor. Her executioner. Asterisk. Droppa. If someone you trusted ever betrayed you. Asterisk asterisk. Raynor raised his weapon. Kira didn't move. Jared stepped forward. You thought it was over, didn't you? He said softly. But Project Helix didn't fail. It evolved. I kept it alive. Her heart pounded. Why now? He reached into his jacket and tossed something to her. A chip. Blinking red. Because it's time to start again. Then everything went black. The walls lit red. And from beneath the floor, a hum began to rise. Asterisk asterisk. To be continued. The floor vibrated beneath Kira's boots. It was subtle at first, a low-frequency tremor that felt more alive than mechanical. Like the heartbeat of something vast and buried, red emergency lights bathed the corridor. Rayner's rifle followed. His stare, locked on Jared Lane's silhouette framed in the pale glow of the control chamber. But Kira didn't draw. Not yet. Jared had been many things to her: instructor, strategist, father figure. The last voice she'd heard in her earpiece before everything burned down in Prague. And now he stood. Not dead, not buried, not even aged. He looked like time had barely touched him. "What have you done?" Kira asked. Jared smiled. "I kept the mission alive. We were never meant to vanish. You think Helix was just about disaster response? That medal on your chest, do you even remember what it stood for?" Kira took a step forward. "It stood for sacrifice." Jared's smile faded. "No, it stood for evolution. Drapa, if you've ever stood alone in a room full of ghosts." Behind him, the console flared to life, humming with signatures Kira hadn't seen since the blackout simulations in 18. The ones the Pentagon classified as IRREPRODUCIBLE, except now they weren't. Lane touched a panel. The hum beneath the floor deepened. Walls shuddered. "You brought others," he said. "They'll want answers. And they'll have them. But first," he pressed a command. A thick sheet of blast glass lowered behind Kira, sealing the corridor. Rayner pounded the surface. "Kira!" She turned, eyes locked with his. "Stay put." Then she faced Lane again. The floor beneath her dropped. Literally. A platform descended into darkness. Asterisk. She landed in a subterranean dome. The air was filtered cold, recycled. Light hummed from old arc panels. And in the center, a glass chamber filled with wires, fluid, and something suspended. Not quite human, not quite machine. It turned slowly within the liquid. Like a fetus with metal bones. Keira stepped toward it. Her boots echoed. Lane's voice came from behind. "Meet Aegis 1. What is it?" "Our future. Yours. Mine. Phoenix Nine's legacy. It's what Helix was always meant to create." She swallowed. "Why me?" "You were the only candidate to survive all 5 Helix trials. They never told you. You thought it was punishment, exile, irrelevance. It was final phase preparation." Asterisk. Kira stared at the thing in the chamber. It opened its eyes. Her eyes. The same gray-blue. The same scar beneath the brow. Cloned, hybridized, weaponized. "You copied me." "No," Lane said softly. "I preserved you." Asterisk. Suddenly the ground above groaned. Explosions, yelling. The others had breached the barrier. Kira looked up. "They're not ready for this." "Neither were we," Lane said. "But evolution doesn't wait." Aegis 1's pod began draining. Fluid hissed out. Machinery whirred. Rayner's voice crackled over her wrist unit. "Kira, status?" She didn't answer. She couldn't. Asterisk. Drop A. If you've ever had to face a version of yourself you didn't recognize. Asterisk. Jared stepped between her and the pod. "You can stop this," he said. "All it needs is your clearance. One touch and it activates. Everything we built reborn." Kira looked past him. At herself. Then she raised her hand, but not toward the panel, toward her sidearm. The barrel found his chest. "Phoenix 9 doesn't rise from a grave. It rises from sacrifice. You taught me that." Jared's eyes flickered. "Then finish it." Kira didn't pull the trigger. Not yet. Instead, she reached for the override. The chamber hissed. Aegis 1 slumped inside, inert. "You want evolution?" Kira said. "Start by facing your own failure." Then she triggered the emergency lockdown. Sirens blared. And from the top of the dome, a charge began counting down. 10 seconds. Lane lunged. Keira fired. Asterisk. To be continued. The shot hit Lane's center mass. He jerked, stumbled back into the pod's base, and slumped. Aegis 1 lay dormant in its cradle of wires and synthetic fluid. But the countdown hadn't stopped. Kira spun toward the stairwell. 7 seconds. She sprinted 2 levels, up steel rungs slick with condensation. Her lungs burned, Mav suit dragging heavy with heat. Above, Raynor and Dex were prying open the blast chamber with a pry hook and a thermal torch. "Move!" she shouted. They saw her just as the chamber cracked. Mira reached down. Kira leapt, grabbing Myra's arm as the hum from the lower level crescendoed into a scream. "Go!" They yanked her through. The hatch slammed shut. Then the earth convulsed. ***, a seismic surge punched through the subfloor. The hallway behind them collapsed inward like lungs being crushed. Lights burst in the ceiling. The ventilation systems flared, then went dead. Kira hit the ground, blood smearing from a fresh gash above her brow. Myra was already on her knees, checking vitals. "She's stable." "Dex, patch the transmitter now. I'm trying." "Whatever." That pulse it fried half the relay. Kira's hand shot up, gripping Dex's wrist. "Use my wrist beacon. It's hardened against shock." He nodded, connecting. Outside, the VTOL's engine spun up. Autopilot synced to Kira's biometric relay. "We have to move," she groaned, sitting upright. "But Raynor." "Started. Lane's gone," she said. "But what he activated may not be." If you've ever walked away from someone you once idolized, they emerged into the upper canopy zone of the exclusion crater. Fog had thickened, boiling. In pockets of ionized air. Trees groaned around them, as if trying to speak through burned bark. Kira led the way. Signals still faint. That blast wasn't the end. It was the beginning. "We've got less than 20 minutes before the satellite array reroutes to this location. If Helix's signal pings globally, it won't be stopped." "Then we shut it down," Dex said. "It's not that simple," Kira replied. "The transmission is organic. It's latching onto biological frequencies, neural patterns." "We're the antennas now," Raynor blinked. "Wait us." "As in, yes, our proximity is feeding it." Silence. Then Mira spoke. "So if we leave, it'll find others. Follow them. Spread. So what do we do?" Kira looked to the dark horizon. "We hunt it, and we end it." ***. The team moved in diamond formation, Kira at point. Her wrist unit pulsed in rhythm with the terrain. Every few seconds, a new tremor, a new signal blip. At the base of the ridge, they found it. A black sphere half buried in soil. Smooth, pulsing red. Like a heartbeat. The remains of the original Helix relay node. Only now it wasn't a relay. It was hatching. Drop. If you've ever found the truth buried where no one dared to look. They fanned out. Dex, magnetopulse. Mira, I need a radiation bleed rate. Raynor, get ready to fry this thing. What even is this? Raynor muttered. Keira approached, eyes narrowed. It's a seed. Lane wasn't just cloning people, he was seeding code. A Y wrapped in organic substrates designed to think, adapt, grow. Like a virus, Mira said. Worse, like a mirror. It copies the thoughts of those around it. And then it evolves past them. She knelt by the sphere. My old telemetry code is still burned into its shell. That means it remembers me. That means ... I can end it. She placed her palm flat on the shell. It opened, not a mechanical hatch. Not even metal. It parted. Like skin. Inside was a neuron lattice. Glowing, twitching. A voice echoed inside her mind. Vance. She fell back, clutching her head. Dex reached out too late. The sphere pulsed and launched a signal into the sky. Corona of red. Kira screamed. Then everything went white. ***, to be continued. The white faded slowly, Like fog lifting off a frozen field, Kira was on her knees. The sphere no longer pulsed, it hovered. Inches off the ground, spinning like a gyroscope. Whispers echoed through the trees. Not wind. Not human. Her hands shook. Kira. Mira's voice cracked, distant. Talk to me. What did it do to you? Kira looked up, pupils blown wide. It didn't read me. It remembered me. Raynor grabbed her shoulders. What does that mean? She stood, unsteady. It's got every neural imprint I ever gave the Helix system. From training sims to real-time trauma logs, it knows everything I know. And it's awake now. Dex backed away from the orb. Then what's it want? Kira's gaze turned toward the sky. Contact, expansion, rewriting. It's looking for hosts. Asterisk, asterisk, droppa. If you've ever felt something old come back to life when it shouldn't. Have dot asterisk asterisk suddenly. Static blared through their combs. A voice. They think you're still theirs. But you were always mine. Lane. Mira's jaw clenched. He's alive. Kira shook her head. Not biologically. But the Helix node copied him. When he fell, it scanned him, reconstructed his pattern. He's the ghost in the system. Raynor cursed under his breath. How do we kill a man made of memories? Kira flexed her fingers. With something it can't copy. Choice. Asterisk, asterisk. The sphere drifted backward, now tethered to their location. Around them, the landscape began to warp. Tree bark shimmered, briefly. Metallic, the air shimmered with artificial moisture. Patterns rippled across the ground like static on a display. Dex dropped to one knee. I'm getting biofeedback through my HUD. Mira saying? She nodded. I can feel it trying to rewrite baseline vitals. It's mapping us. Kira closed her eyes, then opened them. There's a kill code. It was theorized, not tested. But I saw my mother sketch the logic string before Helix was shut down. She called it parallax, a neural divergence protocol that forces AI patterns into recursive collapse. You're saying you can give it a paradox so complex it implodes? Raynor asked. Exactly. And where is it? Kira looked. To the far ridge, buried, under the second Helix cradle. The one no one knows exists. Dex blinked. How do you know it's there? Because I buried it. Asterisk, asterisk. They moved fast. The terrain was folding, literally. As they climbed the ridge, the ground beneath their feet shifted, trees reorienting, paths rewriting. Lane's voice whispered across the wind. You don't need to run. You just need to. Except, Kira snarled. We didn't survive Black Helix to become part of it. Rain lashed across the ridge now, artificial somehow. The sky above flickered as if caught between simulation frames. Their suits sparked MAV tech resisting the intrusion. Signal strength is peaking. Dex shouted. They reached a flat clearing. Kira dropped to her knees. The earth there was different, smooth, not natural. She tore at the moss. Underneath, a hatch. Phoenix insignia, half erased. Help me. They pried it open. Inside, a chamber filled with half-assembled neural scaffolding. Rusted drones. And one small capsule marked Parallax. Kira snatched it. It burned in her hand. Too late. The sphere was there, hovering above them. Lane's voice, closer now. More human. You can't kill an idea, Kira. You are me. Just younger. She stood, defiant. Then I choose to evolve differently. She slammed the capsule into her wrist port. White light exploded. Asterisk, asterisk, droppa. If you've ever chosen your own path, even when it cost everything. Asterisk, asterisk. Kira's vision fractured. She was standing in a simulation of her old Helix training cell. Lane. Beside her. But he wasn't solid. He flickered. You know what this is, he said. A test. He nodded. One last gate. Pass and you live. Fail and we overwrite you. The ground split beneath her. She fell. Not down but through time. Memories. Her first flight sim. her first kill. Her father's voice during weapons training. Her mother's hands pressing gauze into a gaping wound. Every success. Every failure, Lane's voice was always there, until a WSN single quotes D, dotted in the silence. Her own voice strong uncomp. ROMICD her hands reached outward, tearing through the code. She screamed and the helix node shattered. Asterisk asterisk, to be continued. The shockwave flattened the clearing. The black sphere cracked, Midorot's shell fracturing into hundreds of glass-like slivers that floated, hung, and then evaporated in a pulse of static. The air shimmered, as if the world itself sighed in. Relief, Kira collapsed. Myra was at her side in seconds. Vitals dropping. Kira, stay with me. Kira's eyelids fluttered. She gritted her teeth and whispered. Parallax held. Dex's voice crackled through his cums. The signal's down, no spike, no backwash. She did it. It's gone. Raynor stood at the edge of the ridge, his face hollowed with disbelief. Lane's voice. The system, all gone. Not gone, Kira rasped. Closed. Sealed in recursive collapse, but it's still there dormant. If someone finds the shards. Mira's hand pressed against Kira's chest. You're done for today. Let us carry it from here. But Kira's eyes hardened. No, there's one last cradle, buried under the old antenna array. Lane mentioned it before Praga. He thought I forgot. Drapa, if you've ever had to finish the mission, even when everyone thought it was over. They regrouped. The sun was struggling through the shredded cloud cover artificial, weather collapsing now that the helix network had been interrupted. The air felt cleaner. Real.Keira insisted on walking. Every step was a knife to her ribs, but she moved forward. Emma V-suit creaking from damage, mud slicked to the knees. Mira and Dex flanked her. Raynor took point. Why didn't you mention a third cradle before? Raynor asked. Because I hoped I was wrong, Kira said. But Lane's not a man who forgets redundancies. They climbed for nearly half an hour before reaching the antenna field. What was left of it? Bent towers, rusted satellite dishes. A field of silence, until Dex's detector beeped. Low resonance. Pulse signature matched. Helix node Gamma. Kira knelt. This one's different. Gamma wasn't just storage, it was deployment. Lane wanted an autonomous seed system, one that didn't need a host. Mira stiffened. Then this one. It could be running already? Kira nodded. Yes, just waiting for a trigger. Asterisk asterisk they found the hatch buried beneath a dish mount. Access was biometric. Lane's print. But the override still recognized her Phoenix 09 authority. With a hiss of old hydraulics, the cradle opened. This chamber was unlike the others, sleek, updated. Still active. In the center, a single tall cylinder. Inside, not wires, not a clone. A seed pod. Human size. No visible tech. Just a single marking burned into its surface. Helix Omega for the next generation. Kara stared at it. It's not meant for us. What do you mean? Mira asked. Kira touched the surface. This is a legacy trap. Lane knew he wouldn't survive forever. So he coded Helix Omega to activate only when Helix 9 was completely purged. And he made it. Patient. Hidden. Until today. Dex looked at her. So what do we do? Kira exhaled. We burn it. All of it. Drop it. You've ever had to destroy something beautiful before it became dangerous. The problem was, Omega was adaptive. The moment Kira breached the containment seal, the pod reacted. Lights blinked. Fluid hissed. Not water. Not synthetic. Gel. DNA primer solution. Raynor cursed. It's building. Kira ripped open the command panel. Her fingers blurred across the interface. Mira shoved a plasma pack into the core. Dex, linked to imprinades. 10 seconds. He yelled. Keira finished typing. Omega overwrite initiated. She backed up. They all did that 9 seconds. 8 dot. Then the pod spoke, a voice hers. Kira Vance confirmed. Final directive accepted. Evolution cancelled. The light died. Silence. And the pod dissolved. Into nothing. Not vapor. Not ash. Just gone. Asterisk. They stood in silence. The Helix program, the one that outlived cities, survived betrayal, and mimicked gods, was finally truly gone. Raynor put a hand on Kira's shoulder. You did it. Kira shook her head slowly. No. We did. Above them, the sun finally broke fully through. No static, no shimmer. Just light, real light. Asterisk to be continued. The wind on the ridge was sharp now, but real. No simulation, no interference. Just air, cool and wild, rushing over the broken antenna field as if exhaling centuries of ghosts. Kira knelt, fingers brushing a piece of scorched metal. The last remnant of Helix Omega. Gone. But her hand still trembled. Raynor stepped close. You're still listening for it, aren't you? She nodded. The quiet's louder than I expected. Dex and Mira were down the hill, cataloging debris for records and confirming the cradle had truly dissolved. But Kira didn't move. Lane was always planning for a future without him, she whispered. Even in death, he tried to orchestrate. The next war. Raynor crouched beside her. And you stopped it. No, I postponed it. The Helix framework still exists in pieces, in signals, in corrupted satellites, in abandoned labs. What we buried today was only one node. He watched her, quiet. She stood. We go home. But not to rest, to prepare. Asterisk. Drop us if you've ever finished something huge and realized it was just the beginning. Asterisk. Back at the compound. Reintegration was cold and impersonal. Deacon units ran triple passes. Med teams swabbed every exposed surface. A full containment lockdown went into effect within minutes of their return. Kira stripped out of her MAV suit with slow, measured movements. She didn't flinch when the nurse swabbed the old scars on her arm, scanning the microfilament tattoo. No reaction when her retinal scan flashed red, then green, but her fingers hovered above her badge. The phoenix, still there, still stained. Still hers. She clipped it back. Onto her vest. Asterisk. In the debrief chamber, command waited. Screens lined the wall with black avatars. No names. No insignia. Just authority. Raynor, Dex, and Mira sat behind her. She stood alone. You initiated an unsanctioned descent into the exclusion zone, the central avatar spoke. You accessed a Forbidden's project. You activated dormant assets. You deployed a theoretical weapon without oversight. Kira didn't blink. I saved your future. A pause. Then another voice. What was your final action within the Helix cradle? I canceled evolution. You canceled advancement. I canceled extinction. More silence. Then, you are to be debriefed further under Alpha 6 protocols. Until then, you are suspended from all active command. Dex shot up. That's a joke. Kira raised a hand. It's fine. Raynor's fists clenched. You do everything right and they chain you for it? Mira leaned forward. What are they afraid of? Kira turned. Of what I saw. Of what I became even for. A second. Asterisk. She walked out. Down the sterile hall. Past a wall of brass plaques etched with names. Some living. Some not. She stopped at one. Jared Lane, his date of death. Now correct. She stared for a long time, then drew a penknife from her boot and etched one word beneath it. Traitor. Asterisk. Drop a, if you've ever honored someone. Only to find they never deserved it. Asterisk. Her quarters were sparse. She didn't unpack. She didn't sleep. Instead, she opened an old hard case from beneath the bed. Inside, maps. Data cores. Fragments from Helix Theta and Helix Kilo. Places Lane never reached. Places he dismissed. Places she didn't. Each node, each remnant, might contain another trigger, another seed, another echo. She cataloged them until sunrise. Then she went to the perimeter gate. A young guard saluted her. "You're on restricted movement, ma'am." She met his eyes. "Then file a report. I'll be back before the ink dries." She stepped out. The road stretched into the morning haze. A new mission forming, even as the last one still echoed in. Her blood. Helix was over, but evolution had never waited for permission. And neither would she. Asterisk, asterisk, to be continued, ... The town was barely on the map. A crumbling outpost buried between two mountains and stitched together with copper wire, fading satellite dishes, and memory. Kira arrived on foot, mud drying along her boots, wind biting through her jacket. Number. Badge, no MAV suit. No one here would know what Phoenix 09 was. Or what Helix had nearly become. That was the point. She stepped into a repair depot masquerading as a general store. Shelves lined with battered tech, old radios, and boxes of fusion. Batteries whose expiration dates had long passed. Behind the counter, a man in his 60s was soldering an optical relay with surgeon's focus. "Help you?" he asked, not looking up. "I'm looking for Aditi Varma." Now he looked, eyes sharp. "Measuring. She doesn't do field work anymore." "I'm not here for field work." Kira reached into her coat and laid a single data wafer on the counter. "I need her to read this." He stared at it, then silently turned and disappeared through a side curtain. Asterisk, asterisk. Drop a, if you've ever had to track down someone who swore they were done helping. Asterisk, asterisk. Aditi Varma emerged 3 minutes later. Wiping grease from her hands, she was smaller than Kira expected, built like a dancer. Hair threaded with gray, eyes like polished obsidian. She saw the wafer and froze. That's Phoenix code. Helix, Gamma Cradle. Deconstructed. You brought it here? I couldn't leave it anywhere they could find it. Aditi hesitated. Do you know what's encoded in that wafer? I think it's the archive of all the command structures Helix ever ran. Not the operations, the beliefs. Aditi sat. Her voice quiet. You want me to open it? No, Kira said. I want you to tell me how to destroy it. Asterisk, asterisk. They worked through the night. Aditi's lab was deeper than it looked beneath the store, through 3 security doors, past. A retinal lock Kira recognized from old Black Helix days. Only a handful of people had ever had access to this level. Kira was one of them. The only one still breathing. Aditi scanned the wafer. The projection that floated above the console was stunning. Thousands of strings of ideological alignment code. Not combat data, not drone formations, just values. Loyalty curves. Risk tolerance profiles. Synthetic empathy graphs. Kira whispered, This is how it chose recruits. Worse, Aditi said. This is how it rewrote them. She pointed to a section near the core. See this? It's a recursive loyalty algorithm. Once you enter Helix with even a mild ideological lean, this primes your decision-making toward fatalist obedience. Lane didn't just build soldiers, he built zealots. Kira's stomach turned. That means it could still rewrite someone if they interface with the wrong node. Aditi nodded grimly. Exactly. Asterisk, asterisk. Kira stepped back. So how do we destroy it? Aditi exhaled. You don't just delete this. It's encoded on synthetic DNA. It replicates like a virus and travels through magnetic exposure. You wipe it on one end, it rewrites from the other. Kira leaned against the wall. Then there has to be a counter-virus. Aditi blinked. You think someone programmed a failsafe? No, I think someone became one. Asterisk, asterisk, drop a if. You've ever realized you were the contingency plan? Asterisk, asterisk, Aditi stared. You're serious? Kira nodded. Lane's systems still respond to me. Every cradle, every relay. That means they're still encoded with my original neuroprint. That means if I inject a corrupted string back into them, they'll unravel. Kira pointed at the section marked PHX_core_0. I want to replace that string with the logic I used to destroy Omega. Aditi hesitated. It could work. Or it could spread your pattern across every shard left in the system. I'm willing to risk it. Aditi slowly turned. I hope you're ready to watch yourself die one code loop at a time. Asterisk. They started the rewrite. Kira sat still as the interface injected her modified logic into the core of the wafer's system, one by one. The lines of Lane's ideology cracked. And one by one, they were overwritten. Not with rage, not with loyalty, but with choice. The code looped, recursive collapse began. Aditi's screen blinked. Integrity, 92%, 78. 41%, then core shutdown complete. The screen went black. Aditi slumped back. You just killed a ghost. Kira exhaled. For the first time in hours. No, I set it free. Asterisk. To be continued. Morning light spilled across the high desert, slicing through the windows of Aditi's bunker with a sharp clarity that made everything feel clean, exposed. The kind of light that left no place for ghosts to hide. Kira stood on the roof, arms crossed against the wind, watching the sun crest over a ridge lined with rusted towers. The wafer was gone, burned, atomized in Aditi's containment field, but that didn't mean they were finished. Below, Aditi moved like a woman possessed, wiping drives, scrambling trace signatures, rerouting surveillance loops across 5 satellites. Every click and hum was a ritual of paranoia. Are you expecting visitors? Kira called down. Not yet, Aditi replied. But if someone was watching for a helix signal, they'll be headed here by noon. Kira didn't argue. She just walked back down into the lab. Asterisk. If you've ever felt the calm before a storm and knew it wasn't going to last. Asterisk. They had maybe 5 hours. That was enough. Kira booted up a satellite console Aditi hadn't touched. It was old Phoenix-era mesh code, but she could read it like a song. Her fingers moved fast. Multiple pulses are still echoing from the cradle sites. Dormant, yes, but reactive. Like landmines, Aditi muttered. Keira tapped one node marked H37, deep in the Caucasus Mountains. This one's still alive. Not full helix, a shard. Can you overwrite it? Not from here. It needs physical interface. Direct handshake. Aditi narrowed her eyes. You're thinking of going after it? No, Kira said. We are. Aditi blinked. Kira, I'm a systems engineer. I don't go into the field. You built Helix. I need your brain where it counts. Besides, if this goes wrong, I can't leave the only person who knows how to rebuild it alive. A beat. Then Aditi smiled. You really know how to ask for a favor. Asterisk. 3 hours later. They were in the air. An unregistered vertical drone from Kira's hidden cache lifted them north fast. Quiet, ghost-painted with reflective mesh that made it all but invisible to low-race radar. As the landscape changed beneath them, Kira stared at the holomap. I never told Command about H37, she said. Aditi looked up from her tablet. Why? Because I didn't want them tempted. It's that dangerous? No, Kira said. It's that useful. Drapa, if you've ever had to hide something good, so it couldn't be turned into something terrible. Shard was embedded inside an abandoned Soviet-era relay station, surrounded by stone. Invisible to drones. They landed 5 clicks out and hiked the rest. The air here was thin, biting cold, the kind that cut through gloves and clung to your lungs. Aditi panted hard after just the first slope. Keira offered a hand. You still think I shouldn't have brought you? Aditi shot her a glare, but took the hand. They reached the station. By dusk, the doors had rusted to powder, but the lock still. blinked with a faint blue pulse. Kira pressed her palm to the surface. The light turned. Red dot, then green dot. The door groaned open. Inside. The station was warm. Wrongly warm. The floors were clean. Power lines hummed. Something was still living here. Not someone. Something. Asterisk. Kira, Aditi whispered. This isn't just a shard. This is a core. No, Kira said softly. It's a decoy. And then the walls shifted. They weren't walls. They were screens. Each one showed her. Every moment of her. Last mission. Every kill. Every choice. Every time she disobeyed. Every time she hesitated. A voice crackled over the comms. Not Lane's, hers. I'm the version of you that never doubted. I watched you collapse, Helix. I watched you hesitate. I watched you feel. Kira clenched her fists. What is this? Aditi stepped back. She cloned you. Lane didn't finish Omega, but this node did. Kira's voice echoed again. You failed evolution. But I didn't. A door hissed open. And from the far end of the hallway, Kira's double stepped forward. Same face. Same build. But the eyes were colder. Empty. Double quotes. End this. Aditi whispered. Keira nodded once. Then drew her sidearm. Asterisk to be continued. Kira's breath came slow and steady. Her sidearm didn't waver, but her heart thudded in her chest as if trying to claw its way out. Across the narrow corridor, the echo moved with a precision that bordered on eerie. Not mechanical. Just perfected, sharpened down to instinct. Same frame. Same stride. But something vital was missing. It didn't blink. Who activated you? Kira asked. The echo tilted its head. You did. You ran the parallax collapse. You triggered the recursive failure. The system adapted. I was born in the fallout. Kira's grip tightened. You shouldn't exist. But I do. And I am Helix now. Not Lane's version. Not yours. Mine. Asterisk. Drop a, if you've ever had to face down the worst version of yourself. Asterisk behind her. Aditi moved to the side, eyes wide, but hands calm. She was recording the moment on a covert stream. Data was king, even now. The echo took a step forward. I know your hesitation threshold. Your reflex curve. I've studied you for 29.7 hours of looped decision trees. I'm not a clone. I'm a correction. Kira lowered her aim just slightly, then shifted 3 degrees left. To the coolant pipe. She fired. It burst. Steam howled into the hallway, and in that instant of white fog and metal screaming, she ducked left. The echo moved too, but not fast enough. Kira was already in the maintenance shaft. Asterisk. She ran. Aditi was right behind her. Tell me you have a plan. I do. Separate the node from its source. That's not a plan. That's a thesis. Then let's test it. Asterisk. They dropped into the relay chamber. The core throbbed with light pale gold, nothing like the red of Lane's systems. It pulsed in harmony with the echo's movements. It wasn't just watching her. It was her. Echo stepped into the chamber from the opposite side. I don't need weapons. I am the weapon. Kira keyed her comms. Dex, do you copy? Static. Then, barely. You're underground and 30 clicks out of range. What's going on? Phoenix Echo Protocol is live. We found a mirror. Patch in Mira and get Raynor moving, just in case I don't walk out of here. Don't say that, Dex snapped. Kira closed her eyes. If I go dark, burn the site. Then she cut the channel. Asterisk. Drop a, if you've ever accepted the fight knowing you might not win. Asterisk. The echo circled the core. You want to delete me, it said. But I am not a virus. I'm a refinement. You're a fracture, Kira snapped. The leftover echo of a bad idea. Then prove it. The fight exploded like lightning. Kira ducked, rolled, blocked a strike that felt like hitting steel. The echo didn't bleed. didn't slow. Every move was a counter before Kira even finished her thought. But Kira didn't need to win with force. She needed time. Aditi looped behind the core, planting a pulse spike into the conduit base. She mouthed, 30 seconds. Kira gritted her teeth and struck. Punch, a knee, a draw cut with her boot blade. The echo faltered briefly. Enough. Double quotes now. Kira shouted. Aditi hit the spike. A surge of raw charge flooded the chamber. The core spasmed. Echo screamed. Not just a cry of pain, but of data being stripped away. It staggered. Its eyes flickered. Kira walked up and pressed her sidearm to its temple. Go back to the silence. She pulled the trigger. The echo collapsed. The core dimmed. Just like that, the mirror shattered. To be continued. Smoke lingered in the chamber. Kira stood still, sidearm low, breath coming in ragged pulls. The echo's body, her body, yet not, lay crumpled on the metal floor, the last flickers of synthetic life draining from its eyes. No scream, no defiance, just stillness. Aditi stepped beside her, gaze locked on the darkened core. It's really over. No, Kira said softly. It's broken. That's different. Drapa, if you've ever had to destroy what you once were just to move forward. They secured the chamber. Data was extracted, cables severed, the control core reduced to inoperable components. No chance of reconstruction, but Kira kept. One shard, a sliver of neural alloy, no larger than her palm. This held the echo's primary protocol, she said, slipping it into a sealed pouch. We'll bury it, not destroy. We might need the pattern one day. Aditi didn't argue. Outside, the wind had shifted. The drone picked them up at the ridge. Raynor's voice cracked through the comms as they lifted. You in one piece? More. Or less, Kira replied. You found another cradle? No, I found me, or what I could have been. The line went quiet. Then, that sounds worse than the cradle. It was. Back at the compound. Kira stepped off the transport too. Find Mira and Dex waiting. Dex tossed her a ration bar. Figured you hadn't eaten anything with calories since you left. Kira caught it, unwrapped it, bit. Still tastes like regret. Mira looked her over. You okay? No, Kira said. But I'm still here. They walked her back to the command dome. No debrief, this time. No reprimand. The room inside was silent. A single chair. A monitor. A message already playing on loop. Project Phoenix classified response recovery units dispatched to shard nodes. All surviving operatives. Flagged for review. Kira turned to Dex. This isn't over. I know. They'll want to rebuild. I know. She looked at Mira. We need to get ahead of them. Myra nodded. Then it starts now. Drapa, if you've ever seen the system trying to restart itself and knew you had to stop it again. Later, in her quarters, Kira stared at her reflection. She stripped down. Scars visible now, old burns, surgical threads, combat legacy. But it was the scar beneath her, collarbone that pulsed gently under the light, the one from the original Helix implant. She pressed it. File booted in her ocular HUD, long buried. Hidden under layers of encryption only she could access. It was titled, PH Liberate opened. It schematics. But not for weapons. For suppression failsafes. Codes that would disable every Helix shard on the planet remotely. Silently, instantly. A last chance fuse. She hadn't written it. Her mother had. A final gift. Left in the shadows. Kira didn't cry, but she smiled. The war wasn't over, but for the first time in years, she held the match. To be continued. Snow fell in thick, deliberate flakes over the northern ice field. It was late, the kind of cold that numbed fingers even through gloves. But Kira didn't stop walking. She was alone. Just her, a pack of gear, and a single encrypted transmitter embedded in her forearm. The path she followed was not on any satellite grid. It led to the very edge of the old world, where Helix had once buried its earliest experiments. Now, she was here to dig them up. Droppa. If you've ever returned to the beginning, just to make sure the ending holds. She reached a rusted tower, barely upright, iced over, half consumed by glacier drift. Beneath it, a reinforced hatch glared from the snow like a forgotten eye. Kira crouched and placed her hand on the panel. A long moment, nothing happened. Then the system recognized her biometrics. PHX-01, legacy identification confirmed. Access granted. The hatch opened with a groan that echoed across the empty plain. Below, everything was preserved. Too preserved. The corridors weren't ruined. They were clean. Lit. And already active. Pistol was out before the second door opened. Inside, rows of containment tanks lined the walls. Most were dark. Some flickered, and in the center, a single occupied pod. She stepped forward. Every muscle braced. It wasn't lame. It wasn't her. It was a child. Maybe 10 years old, floating in pale fluid, her face different, but the eyes were Kira's. She stepped back. A voice echoed through the chamber. No speakers, just presence. You shut down the systems. You collapsed the structure, but evolution never needed permission. Kira spoke into the air. Who are you? We are what grew from you. A final adaptation, not command. Not obedience. Continuity. The child in the pod blinked. Then smiled. A soft chime pulsed across the system. Back at the compound. Mira and Dex stared at the signal spike. Unregistered echo wave, Mira said. From the Arctic fringe. Raynor turned pale. That's where they started the first Helix branch. Dex whispered. She's there. Mira nodded. And she's not alone. Droppa, if you've ever realized you weren't the last of your kind, just the first. In the Arctic cradle. Kira stepped toward the pod. You're not Helix, she said. You're something else. The voice responded. You burned the tree. We are the Sieg. Kira's fingers hovered over the release panel. One command and the pod would open. One decision. She thought of her mother. Of Lane, of every moment. In the tunnels, the command chambers, the battles against echoes and ghosts. She thought of choice. Then she said, no. And walked away. The pod dimmed. But it didn't die. The child inside closed her eyes. And began to dream. To be continued. The ocean hammered the cliffs below in rhythmic bursts, like a giant breathing beneath the earth. Kira stood at the edge of the ridge, eyes scanning the horizon where sea met sky. The Arctic cradle had been sealed. The signal scrubbed, but she hadn't destroyed the pod. That was a choice she still carried. And now, 1 week later, she was here on the edge of an abandoned military relay station overlooking the Atlantic Dash, waiting. Not for a threat, for an answer. Droppa, if you've ever left something alive, just to see what it might become. Behind her, a soft crunch of boots on gravel. Myra, still watching the water? Kira nodded. Lane always said the future would come from below. Deep pressure, no light, unseen. Mira stepped beside her. And now? Now I think he was wrong. The future doesn't rise. It wakes. She pulled a data drive from her coat pocket and handed it to Myra. What is this? Every known Helix shard, coordinates, conditions, cross-referenced with neurological pattern tracking. Myra's eyes widened. This is a global map, Kira nodded. We're not done. Just ahead. A second set of steps approached Raynor. And Dex held out a comms unit. Intercepted broadcast from orbital meshnet. It's faint, but it's her. Kira took the receiver, a child's voice. Soft, Do I get to decide who I am? Kira closed her eyes, then pressed transmit. Yes. Drop us. You believe no legacy, good or bad, has to define the next generation. They set up a temporary command tent inside the old station. Dex calibrated the long-range dishes. Mira coordinated with silent partners from outside the official net. Raynor monitored atmospheric feedback from the last surviving cradle nodes. And Kira? She wrote. She drafted protocols. Not for suppression. For stewardship. A way to guide what might come next without controlling it. Phoenix wasn't about war anymore. It was about watching the fire without feeding it. *** 3 days later. A beacon lit up from a mountain range in South America. Not a helix cradle. A response. Not synthetic. Organic. A signature that didn't match any on file. A new voice. The child. The echo's echo. Kira listened. I am not Lane. I am not Kira. I am something new. She whispered. Then show us. And the screen lit with a map. Red dots where the helix code once lived. And green dots were new signals. We're growing. Not commands. Conversations. ***KEIR. A turn to the team. This is it. The evolution Lane never understood. Helix was always doomed to fail because it forced growth. This is choice. Dex blinked. So what do we do now? Kira smiled. Now we listen. ***. She stepped outside. The sea wind was stronger now, lifting her coat, brushing past her with the weight of 1,000 unsaid futures. She thought of her mother, her father, the lives lost in the name of progress, of security, of control. She touched the old metal on her chest. The phoenix, worn but intact below it. A new insignia she'd forged in silence. Libertas. She didn't look back. She didn't need to. She had handed the match to the next fire, and for the first time in years, she walked forward. ***. This story took us a long time. If you like it, subscribe. ***. 2 more great stories are next. Don't miss them. Subscribe and turn on notifications.